Welcome to the Across the Bar podcast. I'm Peter Raybar.
And I'm Laura Brownstein. And if you are lucky enough to be experiencing this as a viewer, not just a listener, you will see that Peter and I are matching today, basically.
We didn't even plan it, which is amazing. We should have planned it, but we didn't.
Yeah. Except I think we both wear like something blue with a collar most days. So maybe it's not that crazy, but
I've been going more blacks and trying to be lighter, but here we are with the blue polo.
We are with the navies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see how it works with the matching outfits. If it's a bad episode, we'll never do it again.
Or in sync.
Right. So what are we going to talk about?
Had a friend help us with the logo and with our incredible theme music. So now I think we might need a dance.
Dance?
Like across the bar.
Shuffle? Across the bar shuffle?
An across the bar shuffle. And, maybe we need little shirts.
Does that drive YouTube traffic if we start dancing? And TikTok, obviously.
Yeah. People love Gen X professionals dancing.
Right. Maybe that's why they're all getting passed over for CEO jobs, which was a big story this week.
The Gen X?
Gen X.
Because we are always passed over. We are the latchkey kid generation.
Yeah, we're too nice is the problem.
Well,
except for some of us.
Quietly sardonic and then nice on the outside.
Right. So what are we going to talk about today, Laura?
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the tragic shooting in Midtown, of course. We're going to talk about whether or not you need your own lawyer or can rely on your company's general counsel. Then we're going to get to severance. Should you negotiate it? Yes. But we'll talk more about it. And then Mark Zuckerberg wants you to be a cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to give you super intelligence. What a generous guy.
Mm-hmm. All right. But first, the 4 people that were killed this week in Midtown, may their memories be a blessing. That is just the most horrific. Horrific. Can you imagine just like someone that gets off the elevator? I feel so secure in big New York City office buildings. I really didn't think this could happen. What do you make of it?
It's obviously a tremendous tragedy, and our thoughts and our support go to the families of the 4 individuals who were murdered this week by this crazy, seems like, very mentally disturbed individual who drove all the way to New York from Las Vegas. And look, the tragedy is obvious. The need for gun laws is stronger gun laws, and how someone who has so many mental health issues could get a gun so easily, buy it from his boss, apparently, which is legal in Nevada, which seems crazy to me. Those are all issues, that will be debated and talked about. But here,
sense gun laws, this is gun safety, not gun control.
Yeah. I mean, why anyone needs a gun like the one this guy had, I have no idea. But really the angle for our listeners is obviously this was in a workplace, in a work building in the middle of the biggest city in the US. And it raises concerns about safety and office safety. And we saw the pictures amidst all this of workers piling couches and desks in front of doors. This building.
Kids, close friend's son works at Blackstone. And these were like kids, like 20 somethings, like barricading the door. And then Jamie Dimon wants to know why people don't want to go to the office. What?
Well, yeah, Jamie Dimon enters the picture. But look, I mean, this building had pretty much all the safety precautions you could have. And from what I read, there were safe rooms on every floor, and turnstiles, and even an armed security guard, but he was no match to, someone with a semi-automatic rifle. This will lead to workers, and they're already asking these questions about what are you doing to make us safe at work and look out for us. And employers, if they're not already addressing these issues, you need to be addressing them. And part of your messaging on return to office or more days in the office type policies should be about safety, has to be about safety. And this week, whether you're in New York or not, you should be doing some messaging on safety for sure. I think in New York, we'll probably see an increase in arms security in
I would imagine
building lobbies.
Detectors.
Well, I don't know, metal detectors, there may be some aesthetic, reactions to that, but armed guards, more of them may be the answer. They're much more expensive, but obviously worth the cost if they
I mean,
can
I've
prevent
worked
something like this.
in big New York City office buildings most of my life, and they have always felt like a fortress again. Like I'm just so shook. This could happen in something that seems so safe. But I think your recommendation that people take this as an opportunity to talk to their head of people, head of comms, and lawyer, obviously, and put something out to the staff kind of saying, we know this is scary. Here is how we are looking out for your safety. Because if you're going to tell people they have to come in, then you have to protect.
Right. And also, you need to refresh and review your safety policies and your emergency response policies with your employees. We've read a lot about active shooter drills. Big companies do them. If your company hasn't done them, you should look into it and get it done, just like you do fire safety drills, et cetera. Just like schools do these drills. I mean, this is going to continue to be part of our reality until we have tighter controls and a tighter grip on this problem, which who knows when that'll be, unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't heard the White House saying, this really makes us think that we should toughen our gun safety laws. That message.
Well, let me just answer that for you. They're not going to say it, so don't spend too much of your precious time waiting to see that statement.
It's interesting, when you think about the pool of candidates for 28, Mark Kelly is frequently mentioned in the group. And obviously, Mark Kelly, senator from Arizona, husband of Gabby Giffords, who was shot at a campaign event, has a lot to say about gun safety.
It's a highly charged issue. I mean, yes, he does, and with good reason. I mean, it's always amazing to me that there were a bipartisan group of congressmen playing softball when they were shot at, and a good portion of them don't care about
Steve Scalise is the one that got
regulating
hurt.
guns
Yeah.
in this country. So it will continue, and it's very unfortunate.
This isn't super on topic for us, but I do think when you said you don't know why anybody would need a gun like that, I think people are doing the quiet part now, which is they want these guns for insurrectionist violence. Like nobody wants an AR or an AK rifle to hunt deer. They want it for like insurrection.
Well, I hope not. But the way I've always heard the issue portrayed by the folks who are on the other side of the issue from me is that, once you start regulating, it doesn't stop, and it just is a slippery slope, and start with big guns, and where it goes, who knows? I've never seen it that way, but it's unfortunate. And for people in New York, it's an unfortunate reminder, a tragic reminder that issues don't just exist in isolation for other parts of the country. They impact us too. And I think a lot of people in New York take a viewpoint that we're in New York, these gun issues aren't our issues, and the abortion issues aren't our issues, and all that stuff. And here we are, two really tragic shootings where people drove to the state from other places.
Ice raids going on, people's lives being destroyed.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, let's do some fun work stuff rather than frightening world event stuff. So somebody was asking me this the other day. Are they somebody who works at a big content company and is involved with the deal and wanted to know whether they should be represented by their own lawyer or whether they can rely on the company's general counsel? And I thought that was a really interesting question.
How did you answer it?
I said, Peter would say you need your own lawyer, but let me ask him.
You should have been like, you're going to call Peter, right?
Call Peter.
I mean, come on. I thought you were looking out for me. Jeez. Yeah, this is great. I mean, for what I do, I get that question all the time. I represent executives all the time, and they'll start working with me when they're entering a company or leaving a company. And then, they'll have moments at their company where they're not sure they're getting sound advice, or they don't feel so secure about talking about concerns they may have with HR or general counsel, and they'll call me and talk about it. And so I've become sort of an advisor to a lot of executives on their own day-to-day workplace issues. And it's something I really enjoy, frankly. But I also think if you're an executive these days, it's something you absolutely should be thinking about in an environment where you're not so certain whether HR or the general counsel are serving your interests. You have to remember they represent the company.
Sure. They're not.
Yeah, they represent the company. So they have the company's interests in mind, and they also have their own political agendas in a lot of cases. I mean,
Yeah.
lawyers are not immune from politics. HR people are not immune from politics, as we
But
saw
I
in
would say
this.
drawn to, not
Right,
immune to. They're drawn to.
right. As we saw in the astronomer episode, HR people may be in bed with the CEO, so you got to be careful.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah,
Little
and I've
Cosmo.
dealt with cases where GCs have done that too. So, look, I think if you have personal concerns about your own work situation, you feel like you're not being treated fairly, you're an executive, you have the means. Absolutely, you should have your own
Tell you one
advisor.
better. I think once you are at a director or senior manager, let's say director level at a company, or 10 years into your career, have a meeting with a person, have a meeting with an employment lawyer. Know a lawyer so that if something happens and you suddenly need someone to help you negotiate a severance or something happens, I think it is smart to have an established relationship.
Right. I think that's very smart because you don't want to be in desperation mode trying to establish that really important relationship.
I'm lucky that when I was in that situation, Michelle Promaleko said, "Oh, talk to Peter Raybar," and here we are. But
Wow. Shout out to Michelle Promaleko. Here we go.
Michelle!
Yeah. Um, I think it's really important. I talk to all these executives who have coaches, and why don't you have a lawyer also if you're going to have the coach, which is not cheap. And your conversations with coaches, by the way, are not privileged. So if there's ever an issue, that coach could be drawn into a dispute, and they would have to tell the opposing side everything you told them. So that's not good. And I would also say to people who have been saying this to me recently, ChatGPT should not be your counsel either, because that is not privileged either. Sam Altman specifically said that this week. He is astonished, like I am, about the amount of personal information people put into ChatGPT, and there's nothing to stop them from producing that in a lawsuit. Call a lawyer instead, have it be protected, get sound advice. It's a good practice as an executive, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, so let's talk about, since so many people like me get their first employment lawyer when they are in the midst of being severed and want to discuss it with someone, is that something you can or should negotiate ahead of time?
This topic, it's always relevant, right? I mean, and especially this summer, because as we said on this podcast a few weeks ago, this is going to be a big summer for layoffs, and we're seeing it now. The call volume I'm getting of really talented people losing their jobs is pretty incredible. Hiring is still going on, by the way, but a lot of people are being let go. My advice is you always negotiate severance. It's not even a question.
Like, it's part of your employment contract. Before, like that, yeah, if you are signing an employment contract, it should talk about severance.
Right. So if you're...
And set up clauses that would trigger it.
Right. So if you're on the way in and you're an executive or anybody with an employment agreement, you should absolutely be negotiating severance on your way in. And for some people, they think it's awkward, but then they do it, and it's totally normal. Yeah, it's totally normal. And then if something bad happens, they're very thankful that they have it. For others who don't do it, who are offered a package, my advice to clients is always, except for very few circumstances, you never accept just the deal that was presented to you. You always try and negotiate it up. Now, how you do that, what you ask for, that's going to be dictated on a case-by-case basis.
I have a rule of thumb. If there's a big discrepancy, then you have to, if you get an offer and there is a big discrepancy from the number you want, you have to make it a serious thing and send it in an email and put it out there to them why you deserve more, because they're going to have to go back to their boss to get it. But you can always get $5,000 more on the phone. If you're just like, that's close enough, in my experience, just up the number by $5,000 and they are authorized to say yes on the phone to that usually. And you can be done. What do you think of that advice?
I think that's pretty good advice, whether it's $5,000 or some other number that's pretty close to what's being offered. I mean, everything's relative, of course. You know, one secret I'll reveal here for our listeners and viewers is I don't like to do severance negotiations by email. I think it's too easy for companies to say no to an email. I always think you should get on the phone with someone to discuss it.
You or your lawyer should?
Again, it depends. In some circumstances, it may be better for the affected employee to do it. In some circumstances, it may be better for a lawyer to do it. But on the phone is always the human connection.
Okay.
It's a great way to show impact. It's a great way to show emotion. It's a great way to remind the company, hey, there's a person on the other side of this decision. And an
You can
email just
say
doesn't do that.
things without saying them in person.
What does that mean?
When I was negotiating an exit with one company, I went and I met in person and I pointed out that I had been in the same circumstance with another employee who was much younger. And I said, I'm just noting that the 45-year-old woman is being let go and the 26-year-old man is staying. And my severance went way up.
So it's a good way to communicate subtle threats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which in an email that would have seemed like, what now? But in
Yeah,
person,
might have come through a little harsher in an
yeah.
email. Yeah, that's good. It's effective.
No, I think you gave me that strategy. I
Very
was thinking,
possible.
okay, so people need to know about severance going in because right now it seems the trendy thing for CEOs is to talk about laying people off with absolutely no compassion whatsoever. Like during COVID, Brian Chesky, I thought, set the bar for mindful layoffs. Like when he did that big layoff at Airbnb at the very beginning of COVID, it was done in such a thoughtful, humanistic, human first way. What these people are doing now is the exact opposite of it. Like everybody, ever since basically Elon Musk cut, what was it, 75 or 80% of the Twitter workforce to make the abomination that is now X, people are like, I could cut people and maybe it'll all be okay for a while. And Mark Zuckerberg at Meta is one of the top ones for this. And he yesterday, or the day before, gave a presentation where he said his vision for the future of AI is hardware that enables each person's superintelligence, which I think means becoming a cyborg. Please discuss.
Right. So everybody's
If
just
your
going to
boss
be.
wants you to become a cyborg, like we discussed last week, Neuralink, to say, no, just say no, kids, to things getting injected in your head.
So who's going to be smarter? Someone with Neuralink or someone with Meta AI glasses? That's the real question. Who's going to have more intelligence?
Rock, I would go with anything other than that.
Right. Well, there was a lot of points packed in there.
Yeah. Sorry. People are getting laid off. CEOs don't seem to care. And Mark Zuckerberg thinks we're going to be cyborgs.
Right. So a good friend of mine and his firm, Maslansky and Partners, just did a study of consumers and their views on companies and the lack of trust, the trust breakdown. And they've came up with a phrase called the age of rage, which I think is really perfectly describes what's going on right now. And you could go on their website and get the report.
Are you going to have Maz on to talk about it?
Yeah, we should. We should. He's great on podcasts. In fact, he has a podcast on this topic and how companies really should be focusing on fairness right now to address that because people are angry. Employees are angry. Customers are angry. I mean, obviously, we talked about the shooting today. Part of that was anger at the NFL, right?
And here we have United Healthcare guy, Luigi.
Right. Hey.
But why is there so much rage? What does Ms. Lansky say?
Well, because people feel like they're being screwed every day, and they are. Guess what? They are.
Does it all come back to income inequality? Like civilizations don't tend to last long with this level of income inequality. Historically,
that's right. I mean, and people feel like they're being duped by the government, by their companies, whatever it may be. There's definitely not by us. We're speaking to the people. We're going to issues they care about.
Truth to power.
We're providing them with tips to fight back. We care about people and we definitely care about fairness. In fact, I think fairness has been like a guiding light in my career, good or bad.
I like that.
Through all this. But this messaging about, cutting workers and being proud of it and denying, the one that really gets me going is denying opportunities to workers who are just coming into the workforce as if that's some sort of badge of honor is ridiculous. And I think it's going to backfire on corporate leaders who think that that's something they should be doing right now.
I'm going to be honest. I had a project recently that involved kind of organizing outreach people, like organizing contacts, like that one list had to be updated and merged with another list. And I reached out to our intern, Sadie, and I was like, is this something you could help me with? And she was like, yeah, sure. Just let me know. And then One night when I couldn't sleep, I was like, I wonder if Chat GPT could do this for me. Because honestly, it was just a lot of data merging that is the kind of work that gives me anxiety.
Right.
And ChatGPT did it in like 5 minutes, and I didn't end up hiring Sadie.
Oh my God, I can't believe you just told me this story.
Yeah, true confessions.
Laura, where's your sense of fairness? Well, look, I mean, time will tell, but customers don't like that talk. Workers don't like that talk. The workers, sure, you may not care about the workers who aren't there anymore, but the ones who are there do care about what you're saying. And if you want them to be productive and care about the company, then you might want to change your tone and your messaging.
5 years ago, Meta was saying, bring your whole self to work. Workplace is a family. And now it's like the other end of the spectrum. It's kind of overcorrected. All right, heroes and zeros.
Yeah. Well, going back to something we talked about earlier, my hero this week is Governor Hochul in New York for her statements on gun laws and also, pointing out that as strong as our laws could be in New York, the fact that other states aren't living up to that standard puts everybody in a place of vulnerability. And I think it's important to remember as we see stripping of regulations and oversight that this society only works because we have these systems in place to keep everybody accountable. And when you start pulling it off, like, yeah, sure, you as an individual or an individual state may benefit, but the overall suffers. There is a tendency here in New York to think that other people's issues or other states' issues don't apply to us. And it's probably why some people think people in New York are elitist, but it's true. People think that. And we were reminded that, we all have these problems together. And the gun problem is one of them. And Governor Hochul was very strong in calling for action on this. Wish I had hope that it would succeed, but people need to speak up.
Yep.
And she did.
That's a good one. All right, I'll go light. You went heavy. I'll go light on the hero. Resident Alien. Best show on TV right now.
Resident Alien.
Resident Alien. It's a sci-fi show, so you can watch it on Peacock. And it stars Alan Tudyk, who is just a gift, a gem. And he plays a very ornery alien who finds himself living in northern Colorado. I think it's Colorado. And the cast has a lot of Native Americans in it because the area has a lot of Native Americans. That piece of it isn't the important part. It is such a funny, smart, good show that is a perfect escape, but also commentary on the world right now. So Resident Alien, get on board. It's really good. And my zero is that the summer is half over.
Oh my God. You're bringing everyone down.
What?
Well, you're bringing everyone down. What's up with that?
So I am a fall girly in general. Like I am a sweater girly, but this summer, I feel like we have needed the summer. Touching grass is a good thing. And so I would say I'm sad the summer's half over and the enemy is not touching grass. Like get outside, kids.
Yeah. Getting outside is important.
On the campaign, somebody would be like, I think I got to go touch grass for a minute. Meaning like go outside, breathe some air, take a breath, see something green, and then resume.
I hate going double serious, but you went double light, so that's good. I'll go double serious. My zero for the week was going to be the CEOs who talk about laying off workers, but we already talked about them. So I will go to the continued government actions cracking down on universities under the guise of anti-Semitism. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Shame on Columbia and Brown and everyone who's capitulating to this. We need to fight. We need to resist this ridiculous effort.
And
hopefully someone will do it.
Lucky enough to have a close Jewish friend in your life who can tell you this is not real what they're saying. I can be that friend to be like, yeah, there may or may not have been an issue. And I think there was an issue with making sure that Jewish students felt safe to go to class in the aftermath of 10/7. But that is not why the Trump administration is messing with higher education in this country. And they're using that as a cover. And it's hella dangerous.
Right. I mean, also, like, people can't order stuff off Etsy, because of fentanyl. I mean, this is like ridiculous. One of the things that happened this week is is that duties were imposed on previously duty-free shipments from overseas. So,
I
you
know
know,
that.
you could order something for $15 from outside the country on Etsy, and now there's an $82 duty attached to it. So good luck because of fentanyl.
Is that like, is Timu going down?
Yeah, probably. But yeah. So
All right.
anyway,
Well, I
well,
think
let's enjoy the rest of summer, okay,
let's
Laura?
enjoy the rest of summer, everybody. Let's have good August. And
And let's see if this same color top thing happens again.
yeah, yeah. Happy Navy Shirt Day, Peter.
Thank you. All right.
Oh,
Take
wait,
care.
and thank you, Sadie. Who I'm sorry I didn't hire you for that project. And thank you though, Sadie Raybart, for helping.
Hopefully Sadie didn't suffer too much trauma from hearing that story during the episode.
Sorry, Sadie. Okay.
All right. Take care.